Got a 2005 Chrysler Sebring. It cranks, no start. We tested this. We had a couple bad plugs. It was 9:30 at night when I found that for them. So I was going away with campers. So they changed the plugs because there was a couple that were firing through the metal and the porcelain. So they changed that, still doing the same thing. Well, I went and I tested the coil. And all you needed for that was this and a spark plug. I actually have one that you ground out. It's a test plug. The coil is working. We're getting spark through there. Still cranks, no start. Well, we can rule out the crank position sensor, because if the crank position sensor was bad, we would not be getting spark through the plugs. Now, there is a fuse in these things that cuts the thing out. I don't have a multimeter, so I can't test the cam position sensor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a plug off of one of the injectors, and I'm going to see if we're getting power where it's firing the injectors. Like I said, it's a crank with no start. Now, a diode, if you had a diode, you could pull this plug, put diode in there, crank it, and it'll tell you if the injector's firing or not. If the fuse over here, the fuses all look good. So we're either not getting power to it, which that would be the cam position sensor, not setting power. But before we just replace this sensor, we're going to test one of the injectors. So let me get one of the wires pulled off, and we'll set the test light up with it, and then we'll get that and we'll crank it and see what it does. Be back with you. Okay, we could put the test light to a known good ground, and all you gotta do is put it in the port. We tried cranking it, the check light lights, or the tester lights up, so that means we know we're getting power to the injectors. So that rules that out. So now we have we have spark, it cranks, and we have fuel. Still has a no start. So now we got to go and start going further into it. I'm going to do a couple more tests. We're going to check the fuses in the fuse box. I did check them, but now I'm going to actually test the relays to see if we have a problem going on in there. So now we've tested the spark and the fuel. I took the fitting down here apart, right here, and I hooked up a pressure gauge. We're pushing 60 pounds of fuel pressure. So we know we have good fuel pressure. Now we just tested the injectors. We know that they are firing. Now, one tip for the injectors, you lift up on this red piece, you pry out the black a little bit. Once you pull it up initially, it'll come up just a little bit, give you enough to pry out this black tab. You totally remove that, then you just squeeze the tab in, and it'll come right off the injector. So now we're going to go into the fuse box and check there. I got to look up in the manual which fuse is controlling the no start, or the starting circuit, and we're going to test that now. All right, next thing we're going to test is, we got our ground hooked up, we're set to volts. We're going to check the throttle position sensor. So you're going to ground your black, put this. We have a reading of 0.6. Now it's easier just to go here, because then you can do it right there. You don't need two people. As we move this, it is going up. So we went from 0.6 to full throttle. We got 3.7. Now we're going to slowly back it down, and we are slowly dropping. So that rules out the throttle position sensor. So next thing we're going to do, I already have the inspection cover off for the cams. So let me get this set up on a tripod because I'm by myself. So what I'm going to do is set the camera up, crank it over, see if they're turning, and then I'll go back and watch the footage quick to see if they turned. And that's where we're at. So let me get set up for that. All right, we're going to crank, see what she does. Okay, well, never mind. I was able to see it from through the windshield. We are not turning, so that means timing belt's broke down in there, or the gears are stripped out, because the belt right there is nice and tight. So that's going to be pulling all the front cover and all that off, and these are so much fun to do, but that's where we're at. And so 05 Chrysler Sebring, I believe it is. Let me double check here. Yeah. So there's our diagnostic timing belt. I'm gonna probably do this because this was just testing everything. We now found the cause. So now it's a matter of going into the front cover, but that's how we check the TPS. I'll go and put a little bit of silicone, electrical tape over that. We tested the spark. We have everything. That's our issue. All right, thank you. All right, so I got my tools put away. The car's still sitting down at the neighbor's. I'm gonna get a hold of them, and like I said, that'll be a second video if I do the pulling that apart to do the timing belt, see what's going on and that. But for right now, there's diagnosing a no start on a 2.4. Pretty much all of them, you're going to do the same diagnostic that I did here. But that's where we're at. I got to wait to see if I get a go ahead on doing that or what they're going to do. I'll get a price on parts, get with them. And if we're going to do it, then I guess we'll have a second video on the Chrysler. All right, take it easy.